I read a headline yesterday. Tai Tuivasa versus Stipe Miocic being targeted for this summer. I did not believe that. There was no part of that match that made a lot of sense to me. You have who's recognized in Stipe as the greatest heavyweight of all time. Many people believe that just because he had more title defenses than anybody else. Certainly one of the greatest heavyweights of all time, just period. Against the most popular heavyweight, who's Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa is amongst the most popular athletes within the entire sport. And I'll tell you, I'm gauging that on one thing, which is I have been in the arena when he's fought. Nobody brings a crowd to their feet like Tai Tuivasa. Tuivasa beat Derek Lewis in Derek's hometown of Houston. The entire crowd was there to see Derek Lewis. They cheered Derek like no other. When that fight was over, even Houston and Derek's own friends came to their feet cheering for Tuivasa and started drinking beer out of their shoe. When I tell you how popular this guy is over. And sometimes when I speak about Tuivasa, I'll read comments that you guys leave that I'm being very hard on him. I am not being hard on him. When I say that his skills are limited, that is not an insult. Because he is growing at an extremely rapid pace. If you put belts on martial arts, we like to do that, right? In jiu-jitsu and in karate and in taekwondo, all these different things. We like to do a belt system. If MMA had a belt system, Tuivasa is purple. He is extremely raw. He's also the number 3 ranked fighter in the world. He's also defeated world champions. He's in a new training environment. He's at a new gym. He appears to be a sponge. And if you look at these leaps that he's taking, I'm saying he's a blue belt. He used to be a white belt. He's making gains right in front. If he keeps making these jumps, that could be the champion of the world by 2024. Maybe even a little quicker than that. So I am not hard on Tai Tuivasa. I'm just speaking very matter-of-factly of what you have right here. That matchup of Tuivasa versus Stipe is going to be a 3 to a 4.5 to 1 spread for Stipe. All the heart that Tuivasa brings, Stipe brings the same heart. All the skills that Tuivasa is searching for, Stipe's already got. It's going to be massive, at least in terms of the lines. And I would predict for you that it's going to play out exactly the way the lines say, and now you're going to squash your most popular fighter within the division. So this is why I was just very light on this idea. I was also very big on the idea, right where there's smoke, there's fire, and Stipe and Jon Jones were just trying to find a date. Well, then I find out a little bit more to the story, which is Tai Tuivasa called for the fight. Now, that was a cool move. Because Tai Tuivasa may not agree with me. He may not think that he's full of potential, but quite as green as Chael Sonnen is. And if Tai Tuivasa doesn't speak up and start calling for really hard fights and start associating his name in the headlines with guys who are top contenders and former champions, if he doesn't do it on his own, and the promotion goes the direction that I think they're going to go with him, which is to keep him in fun fights and just keep that popularity as he grows as an athlete, it's going to be tough. We've seen other guys have that. We've seen other popular guys have that. We've seen guys make it to the top of the bill, co-main and main event spots that aren't heavily ranked fighters, but they're really popular. And there's always been pushback. Happened to Conor McGregor. Oh, he's being carried. He's fighting this guy. Oh, he's got another easy fight. He's being carried. And in all fairness, that was the attempt. In hindsight, he was carried by having to fight Max Holloway. He was carried by having to fight Dustin Poirier and Dennis Seaver. I mean, these turned out to be really hard, but the intent was still there. And the dialogue and the narrative is very tough. Now, Tai Tuivasa never has to live in that. Whether he gets that Stipe fight or not, the mere fact that he's the one that called for it, his hands are clean. I'm still light on the idea that it comes to fruition. Now, I don't have a whole lot of better ideas. I'm operating under the assumption that Jon Jones and Stipe are going to fight. If Stipe goes off and does business with Tai Tuivasa, I mean, what's that telling us about Jon? And Jon's in the gym and Jon's working hard. And Jon is singing a very different tune. And that tune is, I need to come back and fight. I'm running out of money. So I don't think that you'd put Tuivasa over here. I don't think that you'd ruin your most popular guy to put him against your absolute best guy. Why Jon Jones is sitting over on the show. I don't see it happening. I'm light on it. So let's just say that I'm right. Let's say that that fight isn't going to happen. Look at how well this call out served for Tai Tuivasa. And look at what we just learned about Tai. Tai does not see himself as green. Tai sees himself as a world threat right now, which in all fairness, he is. I'm talking he's only green in the skill department. Mentally, having ice through his veins, going out there, dealing with pressure, being under adversity, and finding a way time and time again to get his hand raised? Come on. Come on, this guy's special. Tai Tuivasa's special. And this call-out is very interesting. Because like anything in life, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Tai wants it. Tai didn't do this for a headline. He didn't do this so guys like me would come over and make a video about him. Tai called out Stipe because Tai wants to fight Stipe. Now, on the back end of that call-out, equally as peculiar, was a lack of response by Miocic. Now, before you say, well, Chael, that's right in line. Stipe never speaks up. Stipe doesn't do those things. I hear you. I hear you. It would have been a bigger surprise if Stipe had taken it. But it's the same thing that Tai is getting on one end that Stipe would have got if he spoke up and jumped at that. Stipe is supposed to fight Jon Jones, so a fighter's supposed to do the same thing every single time, which is make the most money for the easiest opponent. That's how you run your career at all times. I want the most money and I want the easiest guy. So now if you're Stipe and you got to go earn your check against the great Jon Jones, or you can go earn it on this up-and-comer that's skills are pretty green, you see where it's obvious that Stipe would jump at that, but he didn't do it. I'm predicting he didn't do it because Stipe and Jon already have an agreement. I'm predicting the entire reason that Stipe has been silent and Jon has been silent is because those two already have an agreement. And I'm calling this out not to prove a point. Only time will tell. If it ends up being Stipe and Tai Tuivasa, then we'll see how good my detective work is. But for right now, I'm light on the idea. I love the call out. I love the courage that Tuivasa has when I talk about these intangibles to make up for some of his skills, for some of his deficits. One of the reasons he can find such incredible success, and I believe is ranked number 3 in the world right now. He should be, whether he got that ranking or not. Stopping Derek Lewis should have given him that. But the mere fact that he sees himself different, he is not over here to make people laugh. He is not over here so that people can drink dirty beer. He's not over here just to sell tickets. He's over here to win championships and gets what's his in terms of the world of respect and recognition. I really like that in Tai Tuivasa.